in respect of government's inability to provide the requisite resources for the Malian military to ward off insurgents. Now, we are learning this morning that those same rebels or insurgents have indicated that they've taken over some military bases in Mali. Of course, we will get into the nitty-gritties of that and find out whether or not the military intervention has yielded some positive results. Also, Buhaha over limited voter registration exercise. Listen to Ghanaians. Prof. Jane tells the EC, that's on the front page of the Inside newspaper. Professor Jane Nano Pukwajiman is finally talking. I'm happy. 40 chief inspectors sue IGP, and yeah, over there, what they say, is in respect of promotions. So clearly, they are unhappy with the police council as well as the IGP and the body that is in charge of promotions. They indicate that they completed their police course somewhere in 2008, I believe, and then completed universities, along the line, and therefore, in their estimation, they should have been promoted. They've not been promoted, so they are taking the IGP and the police council to court. We will follow this issue keenly because it's of interest, and people are reading several because the impression is created that it appears that everything and anything is being done to remove the IGP from office. The purpose of which we know, because it has been indicated and stated in the leak tape that to win an election, you have to be a mafioso. Pan-African television, we have a term called mafioso. It means that you have to be a mafia. So all the mafia tactics is what is being initiated, by, first of all, the leak tape and also subsequent suit and things like that. So we will go into it. I spoke to one of my seniors earlier on trying to understand whether or not there's basis in law for persons who do not have or persons who are aggrieved really with the IGP and the police council can take the IGP and the police council into court. They say, yeah, to the extent that people can sue the Inspector General of Police and people can also sue the police administration, persons who also work within the service can sue. But my issue has got to do with the fact that we do know that services, security agencies, security services are stopped from going on demonstrations. So they cannot demonstrate. And that is why I find it a little difficult understanding. So I've asked the producers to get me the law regulating the administration of the police service, whether or not persons who are aggrieved within the service can by themselves take the IGP and the police council to court for failure to promote them. So yes, these are the issues that we are going to be dealing with here on the show. For the purpose of education, it's important that you also share your views with me. I'm not the sole repository of knowledge. I may not even know a lot of the things which may characterize this whole development, but clearly you may know. So share with me what your thoughts are. We are on Facebook, facebook.com/Pan-African Television. We are also on YouTube and we are on WhatsApp. So kindly share your thoughts with us. I am also on Facebook and Instagram. So for those of you who are on Facebook, who are on Instagram, who are on X, which is formerly Twitter, you can follow me, Kwame Owusu-Danso, on those platforms. And then you can, hashtag Good Morning Africa, or send me a private message on Facebook or on Instagram, and I'll respond by reading the messages here on the show for you. Let me say thank you to my producers for putting together this wonderful show and the topics, even though I still have problems with the topics. But yeah, we'll do it. Dr. Benedicta Fosu-Mensah is a member of the NDC's communications team, and she's here seated. Good morning to you. It's been a while. How long?
Yes. I think it's been a while.
It's been a while. It's been like over a year, I believe.
No.
No, it's been over a year. I've not seen you because I have been absent for like a year. So clearly,
okay, then probably because of that. But
yes.
If not, I think early part of this year I've been
Yeah.
times,
Okay.
yes.
All right. Okay. You're welcome.
Thank you.
We're expecting Elena Madeko from the NPP to join us. As and when she does, I'll introduce her properly, so she can also join in the conversation here on the show. Let's go to Mali. I'm sure you've been following events. We've had some military takeovers and some military juntas. They've cited several myriad of reasons, characterizing their decision to interfere in the smooth democratic running of their various countries. Now, one of the reasons which defined some have described the renaissance in Mali was by reason of government's inability to provide artilleries, resources for the military to ward off insurgents. And they said they had not been paid. They said that they were not given ammunitions, so it was very difficult for them to fight the insurgents, and therefore they decided to take over power and run the administration or the affairs of the country. Now we are learning this morning that some of the military bases have been taken over by these same Tuareg insurgents, which insurgents were the subject matter for the the coup d'etat, in Mali. What do you have to say to that?
Yeah, good morning to our cherished viewers, and good morning to my people in Central Town and to the NDC fraternity.
Yes, madam.
Yeah, it's quite worrying that we are seeing a lot of coup d'etats within the West Africa sub-region. And I always say that there's a fundamental reason why we are seeing these coup d'etats. One of it had to do with more or less bad governance. The inability of leaders to provide basic amenities, the inability of leaders to make sure that the basic needs of people are provided. The first had to do with lack of employment or unemployment within the country.
Yep.
There's a saying that a hungry man is an angry man. So obviously, if you have a lot of people unemployed, there is that tendency for people to go out there and do what is not expected of them. The other also had to do with providing basic amenities like healthcare, education, and what have you. The sad thing I have seen over the years is that even though within some of these countries we see these things very glaring, AU or ECOWAS is unable to advise these various leaders. And I personally believe that they are not able to do it because they themselves also find themselves in a similar situation, because these are heads of states or people within the same class, and they seem to also be practicing the same thing that is happening. So you have bad governance happening in one country, and there's another bad governance happening in the next country. How would the head of state of the first country advise the second one that take these measures in order to curtail whatever is happening in your country? It is sad and worrying, and as a country, we should all be worried that our neighbors are having these challenges within their country. If tax like Tuareg now taking over the military base, the implication is that they have access to all kinds of ammunition. And this is worrying when we talk about peace and tranquility within the country, because if people forcefully take something, you will have a situation where there's even no control of the kind of people that have access to this ammunition and what they can do. And that is why Ghana as a country, we should not take it for granted, the peace that we are enjoying. And we are to make sure that we protect it with every strength or everything that we have to make sure that we enjoy the peace that we are enjoying. But sadly enough, I think at the moment it looks like we are under a dictatorship, democratic dictatorship,
right,
where there is more or less culture of silence, because there is a deliberate attempt to silence people who want to talk or who speak ill about the happening or the happening in the country. And that is worrying in the sense that when you suppress the will of the people for long, there's a tendency for people to take the law into their own hand and do whatever they have to do. You know, it's quite sad and worrying again with the current happening. Of course, we'll talk about it within the security architecture of our country. That's the police service. When you have some wrangling, well, we'll talk about that. But just to say that for the West African region to have these issues of military takeovers or coup d'etat, it has to do with, one, disunity within the architecture of the security. It has to do with poor governance. It has to do with government or leaders' inability to provide basic needs of the people, and they think that they have a lot of resources to be able to provide the needs of this individual. And so if leaders fail to provide the needs of this individual, then there is that tendency that a group of people would want to now take over power in order to make sure that these needs that are not provided, they make it available to the the country. And we are seeing similar things happening here in Ghana. I have said in other stations how unemployment has become a cankerworm within this country, how unemployment has become a security threat in this country, to the extent that I will just say that I think early part of, or was it late last year, one of my students graduated, a PhD student graduated, and just this week he called and it's like, oh, okay, no, I think late part of last week, he called and he wants to go back to school, but this time he wants to travel outside the country. And I'm like, yes, you just finished your PhD. Why would you want to go back to school? Because PhD is a terminal degree. You're going to, it's like, I cannot find a job. And so he's looking for an avenue to leave the country. This morning, it's on news, and I think last night also, about the number of nurses leaving the country to seek for job or employment elsewhere. These are factors that leads to coup d'etats, and hence making individuals to get weapon or making individuals to have access to weapon, as is happening in Mali. And so as a country, I think it's important that we pay attention to this. And this particular government, I think, have done poorly when it comes to governance issue, when it comes to providing the needs of its citizens, in the sense that we've seen an increase in unemployment over the years. But whilst we are talking about unemployment, we see few individuals enjoying the largesse of the country. We have seen, I mean, just recently, the happenings about, you know, ministers, now they are not even able to keep their funds or their money in a bank, but they keep it in their homes because, of course, they know that the bank probably will send some red or have some red flags, and so red flag, and so they want to now keep their money. And somebody just asked, like, if this minister have this amount of money in his house, what will happen to, or how will it be if we go to certain ministers, like the road minister or the finance minister or certain? So it's kind of sometimes anger individuals, especially when you drive and you see the youth, you see women struggling to make ends meet on the road by, I mean, hawking on road. You see graduates, you know, sitting at home 2-3 years after completion, and then you see our leaders living this kind of life. Obviously, it serves as a it serves as a foundation for some of these happening we are seeing in the West African region to also take place. So it's important that as a country, we should all speak about what is happening in this country. The issue of culture of silence, the issue of unemployment, the issue about bad governance in general. And I think that we cannot afford as a country to keep quiet and allow what is happening in West African region to happen to us, because Ghana at the moment serves as an eye-opener, serves as more or less a star within West African region when it comes to peace and tranquility in country. And it's important that Nana-Addo, and for that matter the NPP government, pay attention to whatever that is happening within the West African region and make sure that they put measures in place to calm tempers, to cool down the agitation that seems to be taking place. You know, when the youth, as I earlier on said, we are seeing an increase in youth unemployment, and people have complained about the happening, and like fix the country, make sure that the things that are not going on well, fix them. What did they do? Instead of listening to this youth and try to, you know, solve some of the problems that they have, they turn around and they are asking us to fix ourselves. That we are the problem and they are not the problem. And that is worrying. So I will say that yes, Tuareg taking over a military base is worrying, and it's as a result of bad governance that we are also seeing here in our country. And if this is happening in another man's country, we should all be worried, because we are not far from where these people are.
Right, thank you very much, Doc, for that wonderful, breathtaking submission, marrying the issues from Mali to Ghana and vice versa. I think that's splendid. You're still watching the News Preview segment here on Pan African Television, and we're streaming live on Facebook, facebook.com/Pan African Television. We are also on YouTube, youtube.com/Pan African Television, and we are on WhatsApp. So those of you who may want to share their views, you can do so on our WhatsApp platform. And then, you know, we will read the messages here for you. Now, the next story that I find very intriguing is the story that has got to do with some 40 chief inspectors who have sued the IGP. It appears the numbers have skyrocketed. This one, Ohima was telling me that it appears now it has moved to about 85 people suing the IGP, the Police Council, and then the Attorney General of Ghana. Now, the police service is regulated by the Police Service Act of 1970, Act 350, and the Act specifies clearly how promotions are done and who is in charge of promotions and the factors which ought to be taken into consideration before those promotions are done. Now, if you read section 3, I believe, of, so section 4 first, yes, let's look at section 4 first. Section 4 of the Act reads, it says, administration of the service. Now, the IGP shall be the head of the police service and shall, subject to any directions of the minister, be responsible for exercising general day-to-day supervision over the operation and administration of the police service. So that's the fundamental principle that we must establish. Then section 4.2 says the Inspector General of Police may delegate to any other members of the police service such of his functions under this act as he thinks fit. So that's discretionary, okay? So that's 4.2. Then we go to section 5, which is filling of vacancies. Section 5 of the Act, Act 370, which is filling of vacancies. 1. A vacancy in the police service, post or rank may be filled. A, by may. The key word is may. Okay? May be filled. A, by promotion, that is by appointing a police officer who is to be moved from another grade or rank with an immediate increase in his salary. So that's 1. B, by transfer within the service, that is by appointing a police officer who is to be moved from another grade or rank with no alteration in his salary. So that's another form of promotion. C, on reduction in rank, that is by appointing a police officer who is to be moved from another grade or rank with an immediate reduction in his salary. Then D, by recruitment, that is by appointing a person who is not a police officer or who would cease to be a police officer if the appointment were not made. Okay? Now 5.2, wherever practicable, and I think that the framers of the law are very, very intelligent, and they chose their words quite carefully. So listen to the words, the English. It says, wherever practicable. So in most cases, it may be impracticable. A vacancy, wherever practicable, a vacancy in the police service shall be filled either by promotion or transfer within the service, as has been established in section 4, where you look at the administration of the service. Then 3, promotions shall be made according to merit. Then, where a police post is vacant or a police officer is absent from duty, or for any reason, the IGP may assign a member of the police service to carry out, the appropriate duties. An assignment under this section shall cease to have effect on the filling of the vacancy or the return to duty of the officer, as the case may be, or if some other person is assigned to carry out the said duties, or if the assignment is revoked by the IGP. Okay, so clearly it states how promotions are done, who may be promoted, and the basis of the promotion. So the claim of the 40 inspectors who have sued the IGP is that, and they said in their statement of claim detailing their case, the plaintiff stated that on February 8, 2021, the IGP directed all police officers who passed out from police training schools before or on December 31st, 2008, and had obtained degrees as of December 31st, 2020, to submit their degree certificates by February 26, 2021 for a special exercise. According to the police officers, they submitted certified copies of their degrees in compliance with the directive by the IGP. Per the statement of claim, on July 21st, 2021, the police administration implemented a series of promotions for their junior colleagues who submitted their degrees under the special amnesty by granting such officers 3 incremental credits, moving them to the next rank. General corporals, the plaintiff said, were promoted to sergeants, etc., etc. Question is, so the people who also submitted their certificate, are you saying that they didn't merit it? Because the appointment must be made on merit. And the IGP, together with the council, finds, came to the conclusion that those persons who submitted their certificates also merited it and promoted them. And they can determine the number of people they can promote. So I don't know, Anyway, the court will determine this matter. We don't have to preempt anything. But the defense of the police council and the IGP is that. Okay, let me go for this quick commercial break and let me see if I can speak to lawyer Martin Kpebu on this matter. So hold on, I'll be back shortly. Hold on, I'll be back shortly.
We are located at Nungwa opposite ADB Bank. Call us on 0549 674269 or 0266 383956.
Information.
But ask.
Me, I have still not got the money for that list of expensive building materials you sent to me. The price of the iron rods have been increased too much, had I?
Madam, relax. Look, that's not why I didn't call you. I just visited IPCP, where the engineers told me everything about Trasacco Fast Floor.
Trawanko, please, those people are expensive. Are they not the people building those big houses in town? I beg, don't catch any guy.
Madam, in fact, I used to think the same until I visited their office today, and they gave me an estimate of how much it will cost. Yomo, the estimate is free. It's cheaper than the one I even sent you.
Wow.
Building contractors, foremen, masons. Visit IPCP, the Trasacco Fast Floor. Engineers will assist you build an affordable, faster and stronger building.
Oh, madam. It is done.
Wow.
Trasacco Fast Floor. Stronger, faster, and affordable.
This is a Trasacco construction product.
Welcome to Ridge Royal Hotel. In the Ridge.
Welcome back from that quick commercial break. I think we've been joined on the phone by one of our very own good lawyers and great lawyers in Ghana, lawyer Martin Kpebu. Good morning, sir, if you can hear me. Good morning. Hello? Okay, we're still trying to get... yeah, Council, good morning. Hello? Right, we'll work the lines and make sure we get lawyer Martin Kpebu on this suit. So yes, the producers are working on the lines. But let me come into the studio and discuss the matter with Dr. Benedict Sumesa. Doc, what do you make of this suit?
I won't go into the merits of the case because yes, please go. I haven't read the suit and the reason why they are suing the IGP. But to talk generally about the happenings. And look, I think we should all be worried. I am quite worried to hear about the fact that 40 IGPs, 40 inspectors. Okay, thank you.
Go ahead.
40 inspectors are suing IGP, and this morning we are being told the number have increased
to 85.
To 85.
Yeah.
It's quite interesting, and I think we should all be worried as a country. And if you are a leader of any organization, Christian Council, the Muslim Council, the opinion leaders of our country, we should all be worried. The time of silence, I think, has passed, and we should all begin to talk because this is our country. We have no any other country. I am worried because there seems to be a big crack within the architecture of our security system, and that is worrying. There is a crack in the security service. I am so surprised that the IGP is being accused.
Right. Doc, hold a thought there. Let me go cross over to the lines and speak to lawyer Martin Kpebu. Good morning, lawyer, if you can hear me.
Yes, good morning, David.
I can hear you, but it's very faint. But, well, if you can hear me, can we speak to the issue, which is now, being discussed by many, 40 chief inspectors suing the IGP over promotions. What is the legal basis for this?
Okay, sir. Okay. He's giving us another number to call him.
Hello?
So
We're struggling to connect to lawyer Martin Pebu there. We'll still try and work the lines and see if we can speak to him on the show. So, yeah. Doc, you're making a point.
Yes, I'm saying that it's worrying to hear about the fact that IGP is being sued. As I said, I will not go into the merits because I really haven't seen the suit and the basis for the suit. But I personally believe that there is an attempt to remove the IGP. And this is as a result of the leak tape, as we heard some weeks ago, that a group of individuals are attempting to remove the IGP because, in their opinion, the IGP would prevent the NPP from winning the 2024 elections. And so for them to win 2024 elections, the IGP needs to be removed. And that is worrying. For senior police men to sit and plan that they want to use the security architecture of this country to help one political party to hold on to power. This is worrying.
All right. I'm told we have Counsel on the line again. Counsel, do we have you?
Yeah.
Hello?
Hello? Yes, I can hear you.
All right, perfect. Right, so I'm sure you've been following events right from the parliamentary probe. This morning we're learning that now the numbers have increased to about 85 chief inspectors, who've sued the IGP and the Police Management Board over its failure in their estimation to promote them in line with the Police Service Act. What do you make of it first off?
Okay, yeah, so it's within their rights as citizens to sue. Yes, that's within their rights as citizens to sue. Because, we are a country of laws. We practice the rule of law, but not individuals. So the context is that, these chief inspectors, of course, they feel hard done by, okay? Because, before IGP Opombwenu left, he asked those who had privately obtained their own degrees, university degrees and diplomas, without study leave, to present same for promotion. So by the time that exercise was done, it resulted in a situation where people who were sergeants, corporals, etc., were also promoted to inspectors and chief inspectors. So they caught up with these current guys who are complaining. I think these chief inspectors, the number about 400. So that the chief inspectors, that those who were already chief inspectors, could not be promoted because for them, from chief inspector, you have to get further promotion, you have to first write an exam and go to the police college for further training of about 6 months.
Yeah.
Before you become assistant superintendent of police. Yes, assistant superintendent of police. So IG Opombwenu could not use his own powers to automatically, or let's say, just promote them from chief inspector to assistant superintendent of police without this process of examination and going to the police college. So in the end, they didn't benefit. So in a sense, more or less, for lack of a better word, they've been discriminated against. In administrative procedures, if you've been discriminated against, you can take action. So there is that lack of fairness. And so it's good that the police council is taking on. They should look at it and see what can be done. Yes.
You don't think that internally there could have been some, measures that could have been explored probably by these officers to resolve their matter instead of seeking to go to court? Hello?
Oh, well, you know, this thing, I know for a fact that before going to court, lots of them petitioned the police council. There was a petition to the police council for over a year. Yeah, maybe close to 2 years.
Okay.
But nothing has been done. So when you exhaust internal remedies, then the way is your front. There's a right to go to court. So it started a conversation. The fact that they are in court doesn't mean they have to stay there to the end.
Yeah.
It is also within the right of the police council to call them for a settlement. Yes. So it all is not lost. The police council still has an opportunity to settle this with them. Because when that is done, then we'll be assured of better security. Because look, Kwame, I can tell you for a fact that the grumbling and the memories, the disquiet, the disaffection, the dissatisfaction, etc., as a result of this non-promotion is huge. And so it's in our collective interest that the police council does something about it.
Let's look at the defense which has been put forward by the IGP and the Police Management Board. They say that, you know, of course, the suit has no merit, and therefore they are urging the court to dismiss it on the basis that the defendants are of the, that the IGP had power to only promote junior officers up to the rank of chief inspectors upon the recommendation of the Appointments and Promotions Advisory Board, while promotions above the rank of chief inspector were under the purview of the Police Council upon the recommendation of the Appointment and Promotions Board. Do you think that that holds water in law?
Well, you know, Kwame, in our law, usually we don't like discussing the merits of a case whilst it's in court because we are still using the old system of, contempt of court, that we are running ahead of the court.
I'm only reading the defense, the response to the statement of claim. I mean, we are not going into the merits of it, but that is what they are saying. That in the Police Service Act, is there something that states this?
Yeah, so you see, the law, remember that the Police Service Act is just one law. It's beneath the Constitution.
All right.
So it's the Constitution that is a matter of all the laws. And the Constitution in Article 23 says that administrative bodies should be fair in the way they carry out their mandate.
All right.
Administrative bodies must be fair. So that is the remit, or that is what Article 23 of our Constitution says. So there is no way you can just rely on the Police Service Act to engage in illegality. No, there is the constitutional requirement that Article 17 persons only. Article 23 reinforces it.
All right.
Right? Yes, and then Article 296 also talks about discretion. That when you have a discretion, use it in such a way that it is fair and candid. They shouldn't be biased, you see. So when you read all the constitutional provisions, you see that for the former IG who have promoted people who were juniors and who have now caught up with chief inspectors, it's a big problem. So having created that kind of big problem, the Police Council has to look at it and see how to resolve it. Yes.
Okay.
It has to be resolved.
All right. So you think this suit is not born out of malice?
There's no malice. This is bona fide. Kwame, can you imagine? People who are your juniors and then they are promoted to catch up with you and you don't get anything. They were just congratulated.
Right. Right, I understand. Well, thank you very much for your time this morning. I know you are not in the country, but you still found time to speak to us. I'm grateful, Counsel, for speaking to us and educating us on the law in respect of this particular suit. Yes, we will not go into the merit of the matter in order not to prejudice the outcome of same. So we will be very cautious in looking at, the suit and the statement of claim and the defense put up by. But we'll not make any pronouncement here on the show. And I think I like the tangent that, Doc, you were going. Good morning to you, Ellen. I trust you are well. Very well. So, Doc, yes, make your point and let's come to Ellen on this subject.
Yes, Counsel made some points talking about the fact that junior officers have catch up with senior officers, and that probably triggered this idea to sue the IGP. I was just wondering when he was talking that could it be a coincidence that we have a leak tape of senior police officers discussing how they can remove the current IGP because the current IGP seems not to work in the interest of the current government, the NPP, because they felt that during Kumewu or during Asen-North, they wanted some showdown. I'm borrowing the words of Honorable Kennedy Agyapong. But he did not see that. He was being more or less professional in carrying out his duty, and that did not benefit or that didn't help them to win the Asen-North election. And so 2024, that they are determined to hold on to power. If the current IGP is still in office, that would probably deny them of holding on to power. And so there should be some way to remove him. Could it be a coincidence that this all of a sudden now is 85 chief inspectors now trying to sue the IGP or suing the IGP for not promoting them? How come? Did they just wake up all of a sudden and notice that their genius have caught up with them, and for that matter they should be, raise alarm? Why are we still where we are? I mean, like he said, it's the joy of everyone that when you are working, you should be promoted. Promotion serves as an incentive, to put in your best. And so when you remain in a particular position for very long, there is that, naturally it's like your spirit is killed, your enthusiasm or the desire to put in your best is killed. So of course, promotion serves as incentive for hard work. But nevertheless, this particular sue, as I said, I haven't read the sue and I wouldn't go into the merits. But sitting where I am now, I am worried because we've heard leak tape of some attempts to remove the IGP. And look, this whole brouhaha coming round within the police architecture was a similar to that happened, to Charlotte Mensah. Is it Charlotte or say?
Yeah. The
former EC boss. That a group of people or somebody says, I'm suing you because of this, because of that, and it's just generated into something else, and today she's been removed. Now we are having 85 chief inspectors sending the IGP to court. And this seems to have happened just after there was this leak tape that went viral. And also because we are close to an election year. Could there be something more to it that we are not aware of? But I think that as Ghanaians, we should all be worried that if there is crack within the security service of a country, then we should all be worried, because these are people who are supposed to protect us. And if there's agitation among them, if there's division among them, if they are undermining their leadership or they are undermining the leader of the police service, it is worrying.
Very well.
It is worrying. We've heard, COP Alex Mensah saying that he has some soft spot for MPP, more or less he's an MPP. And just yesterday I read that he's going to contest a seat. Though it's not clear which, in the name of which party, but it's obvious that MPP is the party that is opening nomination for people to pick up nomination to contest. So it is worrying when you have policemen in uniform more or less being party activists. It's worrying. Again, I've indicated that if you're a leader in any group, our Christian council, our Muslim council leaders, civil society, if you're a Ghanaian and you are concerned about this country, I think we should all be worried about this current development.
All right.
Because we are seeing a lot of things happening within the West African region that I think if you are an African, you should not be proud of. This should not come near Ghana, and we should all be concerned.
Ellen.
Good morning to
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Today, dear, you chest more.
It's been a while. Today, 2 issues. One, my car has gone for servicing.
Oh.
And I overslept. I had exams yesterday, so.
Yeah. No, I'm a living testimony to the pressures of exams.
So my apologies and my
accepted.
My greetings to all our viewers. It's been a while. Yes, we are discussing the the policemen who are taking the IGP to court and the fact that they feel that they have not been promoted. Now, when I listened to the IGP when he came on to, is it the
probe,
no, yes, the probe, the parliamentary probe. He did mention that it was in 2012 that a decision was taken by the police council that policemen are not going to be promoted again merely on the fact that you've had education and enhancements. Is that the word to use? Like you have gone to school again, so maybe you've had a master's, you have a degree. They were not going to do the promotions based on that alone. They were going to add other things to it, and the other things I heard him say, your behavior, how you all those reports. Then the first question I asked myself was, why would you do that? There's a system that has been running since the police service was put in place in 1920-something. If there was nothing wrong with that system, and all of you, including the IGP at that time he wasn't the IGP, but whoever was there, or whichever people took that decision, all of you had benefited, because most of you had in-service training. Most of you went on steady leave. That was paid for by the police service, and then government. It was government who takes care of the police service. So why would you sit down and take such a decision? So this court case of the is it the chief inspectors? I believe is pent up. It's something they have gone through between 2012 and now. That's about 11 years. Yeah. So it means 11 years of no promotion. How is that fair? It's definitely not fair. Why do you do that? If you want to change the way you promote people, you don't think it's fair to talk to everybody involved, including those what is their name? Chief inspectors. I'm sure 11 years ago they had already entered the police service.
Absolutely.
So you should have had a general conversation with them, and then you all agree, and then you set a date where this would happen. But people do not enter the service with a certain knowledge, with a way. When you're entering any job, you know, you are giving your job description. You know, this is my career progression when you enter. Then right in the middle of your career, things are changed. Yes, they could have used this for the new entrants who were going to enter from when the dates, whenever they took that decision, maybe in 2012. So any police recruit who comes in, you are made aware that your promotion is not based just on your educational progression, but it's also based on other factors. But for those who are already in the service, who didn't know this before they entered, you leave them go. They go with the old system. I mean, that's how things are done. But you do not take a decision in 2012 and then impose it on everybody in the police service and expect them to sit down and smile at you. According to the chief inspectors, they have, it's not this particular IGP. Let's remember this IGP came in when? He was made IGP in 2017 or 2018? I've forgotten the date. No, 2 years ago, 2021. Yeah. So this decision was taken in 2012. So between 2012 and 2021, we had how many IGPs? I'm sure discussions have gone on. And I'm sure they are suing this IGP not because he's IGP Dampare. It's because of the office that he occupies. I don't know if you get my point. They are not suing him because he's IGP Dampare. They are suing him because of the office that he occupies. They are suing the office of the IGP as their leader. I I think that there should be an out-of-court settlement. Honestly, I do not think the police service needs this court matter. They have gone through enough with the probe and everything. I don't think they need further exposure. I believe what is going on in the police service is a typical example of, I don't know how to say it, institutional politics. This is a typical example of institutional politics. And they should look at it and make sure they solve it well. The IGP, I believe, has a lot to do. It looks like his senior officers are not happy with him. His junior officers are also not happy with him. He's not the one who created the problem, unfortunately. But he has been part of the system that created the problem. Because per his conversations at the probe, he tells us when he came in, and the fact that he has risen through the ranks by the mere fact that he educated himself.
Absolutely.
And so he might be IGP now, and he wasn't the IGP then, but he's also a beneficiary of the system. He's part of the system. Yeah. So I think he will do himself a favor and the police service a favor by sitting down with his people. And then for those people who got in before the 2012 change in promotion, perhaps you should give them their promotions. Those who came after, you can deal with them on that measure, on that matter, because they knew it before they entered. Now, back to the issue of the fact that the MPP wants IGP out. It is the MPP that brought him. Let no one forget or think that becoming an IGP is not a political decision. It is a pure political decision. All other positions, until you get to, I think it's the Commissioner of Police, it is through promotions. That's what we are discussing. Yes. But after the Commissioner of Police, whoever becomes IGP is purely political. They all lobby for it. And unfortunately, that is what our Constitution says. So if we do not want the IGP position to be politicized, we would have to do constitutional amendment. And that is something we should look into. So if anybody stands somewhere and say that the MPP wants the IGP out, it is the MPP who brought him in. So if the president who appointed him wants him out, he does not need all these shenanigans to get him out. I don't know if you got my point. If Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo wakes up tomorrow morning or even this afternoon, he says, I do not want IGP Dampare, none of us can do anything about it. Because he's the person who appointed him, of course, in consultation with the police council. But he's the final authority. And it's not just Nana Addo. Every president of this country has a right, per our constitution, to choose who he wants to be IGP. So if Nana Addo wants him out, I don't think that he'll go through some people to go and gossip, for it to be recorded, for a whole parliament to sit down, for all of us to go through this process. The president doesn't need to go through this. You just write a letter one morning, off you go. So far as I know, the president is not interested in letting Mr. Dampare go anywhere. I'm sure there were certain qualities he saw in him, and that is what made him appoint him. And so far, from what I hear, nobody has been able to convince the president that he should change the IGP. So he's going to stay. But that does not stop the police service and parliament and the IGP from solving their internal problems. And it looks like they do have a lot of internal problems. That one, Mr. President cannot come and do for them, because the Constitution does not give him the right to go into the daily administration of the Ghana Police Service. That is the work of the IGP and the Ghana Police Council. But I wanted to clear the air here that every political appointment to be an IGP is made by the President of Ghana. And so if the President wants Mr. IGP out, he does not have to go through Green Abu to get him out. Now let's come to Mr. Alex Mensah. He's now retired. He retired on Friday. And I hear that he's going for the Bekwai seat. Joe Osei-Wusu is not going again. That's the Deputy Speaker of Parliament. I believe he believes he's done his bit. I think he's going for 4 terms. Yeah. And so, yes, Joe Wise is stepping back. I believe the majority leader is also not going, Swami. He's also stepping back. Yeah. So Mr. Alex Mensah would want to go, from what I hear. There's nothing wrong with him going. After all, in this country, when a certain police officer who wasn't even up for retirement got up one morning, I think he was the special assistant to the then IGP, got up one morning, said, I'm retiring, went to stand for parliamentary elections in the NDC and won. And he's in parliament. Yep. There's nothing wrong with it. So when I hear people attacking COP Mensah for saying that he's an MPP member, I find it strange. Why will you attack him? At the time he said that, remember, he was on terminal leave. He was on his way out. And he didn't just say it out of a vacuum. He was explaining himself and everything that had happened. And he did explain that for 8 years under the NDC, he wasn't promoted. And he was asked a question, where does your sympathies lie? And he said, my sympathies lie with the NDC, with the MPP. The person sitting on that committee who was asking him those questions was somebody who, at the time he retired, and according to NDC rules, he should have been a party card-bearing member of the NDC for about 5 years. So the question I will ask, that MP, when he retired and immediately he went into the primaries, it means the 5 years that he was in the police service, the 5 years prior, he was a card-holding member of the NDC. Unless the NDC will tell us that they bended their rules for him. But if we are going to go according to the rules, it means he had been a card-bearing member of the NDC in that constituency for 5 years. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm sure there are a lot of policemen. Unless you can tell me that the police service rules bars policemen from being part of political parties. I haven't seen any such rule. What I know is that you are not supposed to use your political affiliations to determine your decisions and to turn things around. But if we enter into the police service, they themselves, they know which of the, how many of them are for the MPP, how many of them are for the NDC, who is for the PNC, who is for who. Until we make it a crime. Yeah. People should leave honorable, well, I hope he wins. Alex Mensah alone. Yeah. And you know, he's also not going, unlike the NDC candidate who went and he won. I think it was just him. This one, he's going to face 5 other people. 5 people are going to compete with him at the primaries. So as for MPP, we welcome everybody. If he's a member, and I don't know if he's a card-holding member of the Bekwai constituency, because we also do have rules and regulations as to who can go and pick up forms and all that. If he is Yamana Kwaba, he's welcome. But competition is waiting for him in Bekwai. There's nothing wrong with him as a retired policeman wanting to go into parliament.
For of the misconduct and unsatisfactory service, that's section 17. If you look at the D, I believe, says, you know, it's a misconduct to engage in any activity outside his official duties, which is likely to involve him in political controversy or to lead to his taking improper advantage of his position in the service, to engage in any gainful occupation outside the service without the consent of the IGP. So clearly, you may not necessarily be open about your political affiliation, but you shouldn't do things which inures to the benefit of a political party.
Where he was sitting and where he said that, one, he was on terminal leave.
Yeah.
And so, how did his statement inure to the benefit of the MPP? How did it do it? And he was on leave already. He was on his way out. He had handed over.
Very well. You're still watching the news preview segment. You want to make a quick... Okay.
Right. I think I jotted a few points down. I mean, during Ama's submission, she indicated that for about 11 years now, some individuals have been promoted. And I asked the same question, and I'll ask it. I asked a question in my earlier submission, and I'll ask again, that for 11 years, a group of people were not promoted within the security or within the police service. And then all of a sudden, we have a leaked tape that senior officers are saying that 2024 election, MPP have to hold on to power. And all of a sudden, we have 85 chief inspectors now noticing that for 11 years, they've not been promoted, and they have to be promoted. and IGP or the current IGP is being held responsible for something that existed long before he came. He was promoted, I mean, he was appointed 2021. And something that happened from when? 11 years now. That's somewhere, I don't know, 2012 or so.
Yes.
You are now holding somebody who was just appointed about 2 years ago responsible for your business. And how come they, and the question is that, did these people just wake up all of a sudden and notice that, hey, 11 years I haven't been promoted, let me hold somebody? If for some reason you think that 11 years you've not been promoted, why are they holding IGP responsible for that? Why is he the one responsible for you not being promoted for 11 good years? Yeah, so it is so clear. Look,
that the promotion
these current, I mean,
NPP
people or NPP as a party are known for what is happening. As I said, the former EC board, it just started like a small wind in a cup of tea, and it turned into, I don't know what to say, a tsunami, and we had a change in EC. Now it has started, and you see, some of these things are happening because sometimes we do not punish people for wrongdoing. I personally believe that what happened in 2020 election, that 8 people died. As of today, those people have not received any justice for just going to a coalition center to protect their vote. Today, it's like, excuse me to say, I said, well, and so it has emboldened people that, look, we did it and we held on to power 2020. So we can't do it again 2024. And so it is so clear that for me, I don't think that these 84 people are coming out because they think they have to be promoted.
But were you expecting that the MPP will leave power for you like that? Of course, we want to hold on to power. I mean, we are in politics. We are in politics. We are in politics. Somebody should die. We are in politics to hold on to power.
If we all die, I think she was fair to. I think she was fair to.
That is why we all go through the system and we all put our act together and then we go for elections.
Yeah.
So if the NDC's problem is that the MPP says we want to break the 8, then get ready because we are going to break the 8.
Oh.
All right.
Don't worry. I will not sleep for you to also break the 8.
So
okay.
That is why it is called politics and it's called elections.
That is the thing.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Much you put for
well, so
anyway.
Well, you're still watching.
Didn't go and get you anyway.
Ladies, hold on. You're still watching the News Review segment. Now, let me tell you something. I buy it from just one place. One place, because he has the best suits in Ghana and the best accessories. I want to introduce you today to where I buy my suits. So, because you see, I always look good with my suits. So, Cook's Looks is where I buy my suits from. And I'm sure from next week you will see me back in my suits, my tie, you know what I'm saying? So, don't, yes, that's on your screens now. Call him on 0549 674 269. 054 967 4269. When you call, use the promo code KOD and tell him that you watched Pan-African Television and Kwame recommended him to you. And that's why you're calling for your suit. So weddings, parties, graduations, office, whatever it is that you want to do, luxury to glamour, everything. Just make sure you give them a call. If you are outside of Ghana, you want to send them an email, official Cooks Looks, Cooks spelled KUKSLUKS, KUKSLUKS@gmail.com. They are also on Google Map. So Cooks Looks, yes, on Google Map, you can also punch in Cooks Looks on Google Map, and then it will take you straight to his shop. He's at Teshi Is it Teshi Onungwa? One of them. But yeah, 0549 674 269 is their number. Finally, brouhaha over limited registration exercise. Professor Jenano Poku-Agyeman has waded in. She says, listen to the concerns of Ghanaians. Ellen, let me start with you.
I do not agree with the EC on quite a number of issues in relation to this particular voters registration, because we have not the album have not been opened for new entrants to enter since 2020.
Yeah.
So we have a backlog of about how many years? 3 years or 3 years, yes. And per the rules or the statute that sets up the EC, they were supposed to get to a situation where people, what we call continuous registration, where people turn 18, they can walk into any district office of their choice and register. And people who are not around can also do that. The last but one or last but two press conferences that was held by the EC, I did hear Madam Jane Mensah saying that they were going to start doing that from next year.
Okay.
So where, I mean, you just walk into any office, district office, including the headquarters, and register, which is good. But then between now and then, you have a backlog of about 3 years. So asking people to move to their district offices, I mean, we could even have had zonal. If you can't go all the way down to the polling station level, why can't we have the zonals so that it will be a bit easier? So definitely, I do agree that she could have, or the EC could have done things better. And I believe this how do I say this?
The exercise?
No, my way of speaking, this opinion was shared at the last IPAC meeting by the MPP rep there, Obi Amwa. He did say that he actually brought this to her and with the other smaller parties. So there have been a whole discussion at IPAC meetings on how to hold these things for the past 1 year. What I find a bit interesting and funny is the NDC talking about this matter. This will be about the 10th time where I have been on this particular platform, and I have asked the NDC on a number of occasions why they have not been at IPAC meetings for the past 3 years. If you remember, I was on Alaji somewhere last year, and I did meet with Honorable Alex Segbefia, and I did tell him, now, Honorable, I'm your younger sister. I'm of the opposition party to you. But your absence from IPAC meetings will not help any one of us. And they went all out about how unfriendly Madam Jane Mensah was to them, and how their current chairman said he went to laugh or he went to smile, and the woman asked him why has he smiled. All manner of excuses. But let me tell you something, Kwame. When there has been there's a place where the rules to the game that you will play are being set, you better hurry up and go and sit at that table and make sure that your opinions and what you want to happen happens. For the past 3 years, the NDC has been out of IPAC meetings. So this particular elections and the this particular registration, it was discussed extensively at IPAC meetings. You were not there. But you are a major stakeholder in this business. Unless they want to tell us that next year they are not participating in the general elections. We all know that next year they will participate. So why are you not there when we are making the rules? Because it is at IPAC that these things are sorted out. Your general secretary, your chairman has been one of the longest serving members of IPAC, just by the mere fact that he has been one of the, I think he's the only longest serving general secretary of a political party in this country. He was the general secretary for 17 years.
Yep.
So for 17 solid years, he was at the IPAC meetings. And then 3 years ago, he decides that I'm going again.
But do you think that whatever it is, in the event that the NDC was even part of the IPAC meeting, the EC would have still Because
if they were
Obi Amwa raised it and forcefully argued his point.
Obi Amwa is from the NPP. And whether we like it or not, elections in this country, yes, there are smaller parties out there, but it's basically between the NPP and the NDC. You think that Obi Amwa with an NDC rep together would not have gotten this, the EC to do what they have to do?
So whether they are being recalcitrant, what is the purpose of IPAC? If all the other political, assuming that NDC is not even part of it, and all the other political parties have agreed that this is the way to go, and the EC
assuming the NDC is
that.
coming, the NDC cannot. You cannot say assuming they were not there. So you were not there. Whatever decision that was taken, even if it means the EC has defied it, you do not sit at the back and make noise, because your noise would not change anything. You were supposed to be at the table. They are going to take a decision. The other political parties do not agree with them. You were not there. But then you are out here making noise. You are going to court, and everybody is speaking about how. What would that change?
With the greatest of respect, where is this perception coming from that every single Ghanaian belongs to a political party? We all don't belong to a political party. So there are people who do not belong to NDC or MPP, but they still vote. So even if the NDC and the MPP and all the other political parties did not go for whose benefit is the EC performing its functions? For the Ghanaian people. So if you're doing something and an 80-year-old girl has gone to court to say that what you're doing will end up disenfranchising me, why is it that you will not change your position for the benefit of the average Ghanaian? We all don't belong to political parties.
When you find the EC, yesterday she had a press conference, didn't she? I heard she had a press conference. Okay. I wasn't there, but that's what I hear. I believe you could have gone to ask her those questions, or the media could have gone to ask her those questions.
Strangely, they invite friendly stations. We will ask the straight questions. They will invite us.
I do not belong to the EC. I don't work there. I am not the
No, I'm just asking a general question.
I am an MPP member, and I am very much interested and vested in what happens with this electoral process. And getting people registered is the beginning of the electoral process towards election 2024. So for me, as an MPP member who is very determined to break the 8, I want my rep to be there where the decisions are being made. I would have been very, very peeved with my party if they had stood outside, did not go for the meetings, and then come and tell me when the decisions have been made. And yes, the woman will have her fault. She's not listening to Ghanaians, I agree. But what did my party say?
I get your point. But as again, who represents the many Ghanaians who are, in fact, who are the people who decide who wins an election at IPAC? Who represents them? Nobody represents me, Kwame Osudas, who doesn't belong to any political party, who is doing my job. Whenever I decide to vote for this person, I'll vote. If I decide to vote for this person, I'll vote. Who represents me at IPAC? Who has my interests at heart? So we are saying that we are reducing the importance of elections to just NDC and MPP and other small political parties, where the large majority or a large number of people do not necessarily belong to political parties, but they vote in the final analysis to make a determination. It is their right. They don't need to belong to a political party to vote. Why is the EC not listening to some of us? Doc, you are not going. Ellen says that we are not at IPAC.
I heard now they said they will go.
They want to go, okay.
I want to say that it is...
But my issue has to do with the people in the middle. So who represents that at IPAC?
It is not a business of MPP. That
Ghana.
Honorable Johnson Asiedu Nketia has been our secretary for 17 years. It's not their business. And he being the secretary of NDC has nothing to do with IPAC meeting. I don't know why they are linking NDC's presence in IPAC meeting with the registration that is going on. There's no correlation. Are they saying that it's only NDC that can come and speak for Jane Mensah to listen? What about the other parties? The NPP themselves, they couldn't tell Jane Mensah that the actions she's taking are wrong. So why do you blame it on NDC? That because NDC was not in IPAC meeting, they could have come to talk and that. Look, the posturing of the EC is like that. Sometimes you wonder if it's worth it, in the sense that what council tea and as a she comes to inform people of the decision she has taken, and know that I am coming for us to discuss and judge and come up with the best solution. Is AMA, and for that matter NPP, saying that when the decision was taken, or when there was a discussion going on, the other parties were not there? Was NPP not there to tell Jane Mensah that registry at district offices was going to inconvenience Ghanaians, that people have to travel miles to go and register? It's going to be expensive. It's going to put a lot of pressure in the premises, or pressure there, because now you have a lot of people, segregating at the same place. Are they saying that they did not make those proposals and it's only NDC that can make this proposal? Look, we know that NPP is just pretending that they are also concerned. They are concerned that this is happening and that they are also suffering because they have to also bars people there. We know that there are calculations and attempts to suppress the number of people that will register and hence get their names into the voter register. I was so surprised when I heard, I've just forgotten his name, the director of operation of EC, saying that they want to protect the sanctity of the register, and that is why they are registering at the district offices. And then I asked myself, 2020, when they were doing it at the electoral area, does it mean that the register that they have currently, the quality of it, or it's not good enough, and so they want to have good data by doing it at the district offices? Is that what he means? I also heard Madam Jane Mensah this morning, was it yesterday during the press conference, saying that those who will not get the opportunity to register now will have the opportunity to register next year. I asked myself, is she saying that she has a particular figure she wants to capture this year? What is the guarantee that next year she will be willing to register the people that missed this year and other group of people adding to this current backlog? So I can see for a fact that there is some attempt to suppress or disenfranchise Ghanaians, all in an attempt to break the eight. But I want to say that as a country, if we are practicing democracy, we should practice democracy. We should not practice dictatorship, or we should not practice dictator democracy, but we should let it speak for itself. There should be transparency in everything that is being done. NPP pretend that they are suffering, but yet we know that they are behind some of these things.
NDC should leave lawyer COP Alex Mensah. We are just duplicitous. Good morning, Kwame. Have you soon forgotten Madam Charlotte's ghost petitioners? I can smell a rat. This one says, we appreciate the good work you people are doing. We will continue to support you guys. Mr. Host, I want to know vividly if any institutions in Ghana are working. Are things better or done right before anything else happens? All right, thank you very much. KOD. IPAC is supposed to build consensus. The EC has turned IPAC into an information center. The EC doesn't take them seriously. We are joking in this country. Good morning, Kwame. This promotion saga is all about planning to remove the IGP who would not help them break the eight. Bismarck Nagastik said, we Ghanaians are cowards. That's why things are like this are continuing in this country. What else do you want? Akbaribo James says, good morning to you, boss. Ellen is making this country difficult. She doesn't want to speak truth to power. All right. Okay. Thank you very much. That's your opinion. A big thank you to you, Ellen, for your time. I'm grateful, as always. And thank you, Doc Benedicta, also for coming this morning. I appreciate you. Thank you. And thank you for watching the newspaper review segment. Up next, we have more. Stay with us.